Are hot flashes, waking, or mood swings catching you off guard? You're not alone. Perimenopause and menopause are times of big, huge hormonal shifts. But your nutrition, it can be one of your best and most powerful tools to help you feel better throughout perimenopause and menopause. Hi, I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer. I'm a functional medicine doctor, board certified family physician, and I'm a registered dietitian. And I'm here joining you with Welltech today to show you how to eat to support your hormones, your mood, your metabolism, and your energy levels. And I promise everything that I talk about and I share today is actionable items. That's what we're all about. Actionable plans. You can start implementing it right away. So let's dive in. So first of all, let's talk about what is perimenopause and what is menopause. Let's start with a quick breakdown of these important changes throughout your life cycle as a woman. So perimenopause is the stage before menopause. It can begin as early as your late 30s or early 40s, and it can last several years, sometimes 4 to 8+ years. During this time, estrogen and progesterone don't just decline, they fluctuate. So progesterone pretty much gradually declines, but estrogen roller coasters and creates symptoms like mood swings and night sweats and hot flashes and waking, especially when you're estrogen dominant around the belly, fatigue, brain fog, sleep problems. And as you get further in and the estrogen starts to decline, you can have a risk of bone loss and an increased risk of heart disease. Menopause is when you've officially reached a full 12 months without a period. Most women reach it in their early 50s, but it can happen earlier or later. But here's what matters most. Your body's nutritional needs are changing. Your body's needs in general are changing, but nutrition is one of the needs, it's the part of it that's changing because your hormones are changing. And food can be one of your best supports. So let's get into 5 foods that do help you support you throughout perimenopause and menopause. Number 1, omega-3 rich foods. Foods like sardines, salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, and chia seeds. These healthy fats are anti-inflammatory, they support brain health, and they may also reduce hot flashes. They're also great for your heart, like I said, and for your mood. So aim for 2 servings of fatty fish per week. The reason we don't go over that is because of the mercury risk with fatty fish, or add plant sources daily to plant sources like flax or chia or walnuts. Number 2, cruciferous veggies. These are broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts. They help support your liver's detox pathways, especially when it comes to estrogen. It's great to have good detox pathways. Helps reduce symptoms related to estrogen dominance because it helps get out those unhealthy estrogen metabolites. Try to get at least 1 to 2 servings a day of the cruciferous vegetables. Number 3, calcium and vitamin D rich foods. So bone loss speeds up during perimenopause and menopause. And things like leafy greens, like I talked about, but also leafy greens, or some cruciferous veggies, the leafy greens like bok choy, collard greens, mustard green, kale, spinach, and turnip greens can all be really helpful. They're not only rich in calcium, but also contain some vitamin K, which is another key ingredient that helps to support bone health and helps support healthy vitamin D levels. Canned salmon or sardines with bones. Yeah, the bones are soft and completely edible, and they're incredibly calcium rich, which helps your bones. We also want to consider things like, some of us don't eat fish. So fortified plant-based milk, sometimes we're non-dairy. So almonds, soy, organic versions, or oat milk can be rich in calcium because they're fortified with calcium and vitamin D. So check the label to make sure they are fortified. If you do have dairy, plain Greek yogurt is a great option because it's both rich in calcium and it has some protein, which we're going to talk a little bit more about later. So together, those help preserve bone density and your muscle mass, which is super important because we do start to lose muscle mass. And then speaking of dairy, if you tolerate it okay, hard cheeses like Parmesan, Romano, Swiss, even some forms of cheddar can also be good calcium sources. They do come with saturated fat and sodium and can tend to be overdone a bit. So don't go crazy on cheese, but it is a good calcium source. And then nuts and seeds, particularly, like I said, chia seeds, which are rich in omega-3s, but you also have almonds, sesame seeds, walnuts, and sesame seeds include tahini, which is really good. And those offer small but meaningful amounts of calcium, which can be super helpful. And don't forget calcium, things like rich foods like tofu. You check the ingredient label to see if calcium sulfate was used in the preparation, because that's when it has calcium in it. But it's a great way to get some plant-based calcium. So spinach is often listed as a calcium rich food, but I mentioned it before, but it also contains oxalates, which can block calcium absorption. So it does have a lot of other benefits. So I kind of lumped it in there, but it's not the best as compared to the other leafy greens. So that's just an addendum to above. So as far as how much calcium you need, most women in midlife need between 1,000 to 1,200 milligrams per day of calcium from food and supplements. So combined, you don't want to overdo your supplements of calcium. So try to get as much as you can from food, but I will talk about supplements here in a minute. And don't forget about vitamin D. You do need it to absorb calcium properly, and you need it for your bones and your immune health. So you want to get vitamin D from safe, healthy sun exposure, but you can also get it from fatty fish like salmon or tuna, fortified dairy and plant-based milks like I talked about before, or a high quality supplement, especially if you live like in a northern climate or you wear sunscreen regularly for skin health reasons, then you may want to take additional vitamin D. So if you choose to support or supplement calcium and vitamin D, like I was saying, don't take more than 500 milligrams at a time. Your body can't absorb that calcium, and some of it can be stored and not absorbed. And try to get it through your foods, like I said. So that's enough about calcium, I know, but strong bones are really important during perimenopause and menopause, and calcium is actually helpful for hormone balance. Let's move on to number 4. So protein. Your lean muscle mass declines with age, and it definitely declines in perimenopause and menopause for sure, unless you actively protect it. So aim for 30 to 40 grams of protein per meal. So that can help slow your metabolism and how you're absorbing the carbs in your meal, reduce your insulin resistance, and help you control your weight gain. So protein is really helpful for that lean muscle support, blood sugar balance, and reducing sugar cravings. So where do you get it? Eggs are great sources. They're versatile. They're rich in vitamin B. They're rich in choline, which helps support our brain function. We get a lot of brain fog during perimenopause and menopause, so choline is really helpful. You can also get protein, of course, from chicken, turkey, and grass-fed beef. Grass-fed is preferred, better source, better for your body, better for the animal. And these offer complete amino acids, which helps muscle mass and repair and rebuilding. You can also get it from legumes like chickpeas, black beans, other sources of beans that provide protein and fiber. Plus, they have the fiber, and that supports estrogen detox and gut health. Tofu and tempeh, look for non-GMO organic-based, are great plant-based sources of protein. They have phytoestrogens, which can gently help support your hormone balance too. And then, like I said, if you eat yogurt, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, those are protein-rich and calcium-rich. And you can also, if you need to, look for some clean, high-quality protein powders. Pea, rice, organic versions. Whey isolate is another good way to help out. So help out with your protein. So a good rule of thumb is 30 to 40 grams per meal of protein, depending on your size and activity level. That can vary, and depending on how many meals you eat. So you could think of like 2 eggs with avocado or a tofu scramble for breakfast, a large salad with grilled salmon and lentils for lunch, or stir-fried tempeh or chicken with quinoa and vegetables for dinner. Those are just some examples. And if you're not currently tracking your protein, it's a great idea to track your protein. You might be surprised at how easy it is to fall short on protein. I see this all the time in myself and my patients. You really have to focus on it, especially at breakfast when you want to have your biggest meal. So start by building each meal around your protein and your veggies. Your hormones, muscle and metabolism and bones and all of that will thank you. So number 5, phytoestrogen-rich foods. These are, I talked about a little bit above, flax seeds, tofu, tempeh, sesame seeds, chia seeds. These plant compounds gently support our estrogen balance. They can actually help hot flashes and vaginal dryness, and don't be scared of them. So try a tablespoon of flax in your smoothie, or chia the same way, or chia pudding. Add it to a yogurt bowl. Something like that can really help you boost those levels of those plant-based phytoestrogens. So now let's talk about your daily habits, how to make those stronger and more supportive in perimenopause and menopause. First, eat protein with every meal. I think I've hammered that home, but make it and the veggies the centerpiece of your meal. Make the carbs a little side item that you have. Protein supports your hormones, your mood, your metabolism. We've been over that. Veggies provide essential vitamins, fiber, and they help fill you up. So second, eat more fiber. Great segue to that. Aim for 35 grams per day of fiber. This supports gut health, hormone detoxification, and a healthy blood sugar balance. Load up on those veggies, those legumes, those berries, those seeds, those whole grains. And when you find a carb that has a label, like you're eating a packaged carb, look for 1 gram of fiber for every 10 grams of carbs. That can really help you get that fiber up and get processed carbs down. Third, hydrate wisely. Estrogen helps retain water, and as it gets declines, your hydration needs go up. So drink half your body weight in ounces of water. You can do that, like I said before, through filtered water, herbal teas, mineral water. There's also a lot of great options for sparkling water that is either has just a little tiny bit of sugar in it or some natural flavorings in it that help if you don't like plain water. Fourth, balance your blood sugar. This helps you avoid energy crashes, mood swings, and cravings. Try to eat every 4 to 6 hours, but also give yourself a 12 to 14 hour overnight fast to rest and reset the gut. Include protein, fiber, and healthy fats, like we said, with every meal. Avoid those high sugar snacks or processed carbs. I already mentioned that, but it's good reiterating that. Fifth, cut back on alcohol and caffeine. Both of these I know they're part of a lot of people's lives, but they can worsen hot flashes and disrupt your sleep. So try herbal coffee blends, half calf, sparkling water as a swap. Chicory coffee is made from inulin, and that can be a good coffee substitute. So think about things that can lower your caffeine and lower your alcohol content. So those sparkling waters can replace for those cocktails sometimes, or mocktails that are low in sugar. Let's talk about supplements. They can fill the gap, but I recommend them as supplementary, not the staple of your life. Omega-3s, magnesium glycinate, vitamin D, those are all staples. Adaptogens like ashwagandha, rhodiola, or holy basil can help support your stress levels. And DIM can be really helpful for estrogen dominance if you're in that estrogen dominant phase. They're not a cure-all. Always talk to your provider before you start any new supplements to make sure they're safe for you. But those can really help supplement a good nutrition plan. So let's kind of summarize and go over what to do for better hormone balance. First, reduce the highly processed foods. They spike our blood sugar. They increase our inflammation. We want that inflammation down and dialed in as much as possible. So avoiding chips and packaged foods, frozen meals, fast food, and then anything processed from white flour is hard to avoid, but good to limit or avoid if you can. Staple in many cultures, like I'm talking about pastas, breads, crackers, those can break down into sugar. So avoid those and too much sugar. Try to keep it to 20 grams or less. That can help support healthy mood, healthy sleep, and reduce weight gain. So like I said, try to keep that added sugar to 20 grams or less per day. Third, trans fats. They're kind of outlawed, but they are still sometimes found in partially hydrogenated oils on labels, so avoid anything with that. Fourth, alcohol, especially at night. So limit your alcohol. Don't drink it at night before bed. It can trigger sleep problems and worsen hot flashes. Even moderate drinking can make symptoms worse. So try to keep it to either 0 to like 2 or 3 a week. And then fifth, limit that caffeine. Like I said, try to stick to 100 grams or less of caffeine per day. You can do those switches I mentioned above. Try switching to green tea, half calf, herbal teas, chicory root coffee. Those can all be great substitutes. So let's recap. Your hormones are shifting, but you are not powerless. You can start by adding in the nutrient-dense foods I just mentioned, the omega-3 rich foods, the cruciferous veggies, the high-quality protein. Start tracking your protein, the calcium-rich food choices, and plenty of fiber and plenty of water to support that fiber. Watch your sugar. Don't need to say that again. And give your body what it needs to thrive through perimenopause and menopause, because it's a transitional time. It's a roller coaster time. We want to make things as stable as possible. Don't focus on just what to remove. Focus on those added nourishing fruits and veggies and fiber-rich and protein-rich foods. Add things in. Don't try to be restrictive. Your next chapter starts now. It can be vibrant, strong, balanced, you can do this, and nutrition can really help you. Thanks so much for joining me and Welltech. Welltech apps can be a great resource for health and fitness support throughout perimenopause and menopause. They have engaging ways to boost your metabolism, your mood, your muscle mass, help with that bone health, and just support you through perimenopause and beyond. So I'm Dr. Shelley Meyer. Thanks so much for joining me.